Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something you're using right this very second, but probably never even think about. It's the user interface. We're going to explore that invisible bridge that connects us to all of our amazing technology. I mean, think about it. We click, we swipe, we drag things around. It all feels so natural, right? It's almost like our devices can read our minds. An experience like this, with all its icons and windows, is so intuitive that we just take it completely for granted. But have you ever actually stopped and wondered how we got here? Because let me tell you, it wasn't always this simple, not even close. Today, we're going to jump in a time machine and see how this whole revolution happened, the one that finally made technology start working for us. So, the best way to wrap your head around a user interface, or a UI, is to picture it as a bridge. It's the only thing connecting you, a human, with the pure logic of a machine. And, some bridges are like a simple plank of wood over a creek, while others are these massive, complex superhighways of information.
Okay, so let's lock in a proper definition. What exactly is a user interface?
Well, the formal definition says it's the space where we meet the machine. But the really important part is that last bit. Its goal is effective operation and control. A good UI isn't just about looking pretty. Its whole job is to take what you want to do, translate that for the machine, and then give you feedback so you know what to do next. Now, to really appreciate how good we have it today, we have to go back, way back, to a time when the roles were totally flipped. Let's talk about the age of experts, when the computers were the ones in charge. Yeah, in the early days, what they called the batch era, computers were these giant, ridiculously expensive machines. Their processing time was way more valuable than a person's time, so the interface, if you can even call it that, was designed for the computer's convenience, not the humans. You had to completely bend to the machine's will. There was no back and forth at all. And you can really see the evolution here. On the left, that's a punch card machine. You'd literally punch your program into cards, hand them off, and maybe wait a few hours, or even days, just to get an error message back. The command line terminal on the right was a huge step up, but you still had to be a specialist who knew this whole other language of text commands. So the command line interface, or CLI, was a total game changer. It cut the waiting time from days down to seconds. For the first time, you could actually have a conversation with the computer. The catch? You still had to memorize this complex and unforgiving language of commands. The door was open, but you had to be a certain height to get in. But then came the big one. The breakthrough. This was the moment computers finally started to learn our language, the language of visuals, something everyone understands. This was the graphical user interface revolution. And the piece of technology that made it all possible was the Video Display Terminal, the VDT. It sounds simple, but for the first time, like this quote says, you had a screen that could be changed instantly. That one little fact just blew the doors wide open for creating visual interfaces, not just ones based on text. And once that happened, things moved fast. I mean, really fast. It all kicks off in 1968 with Doug Engelbart's legendary Mother of All demos, where he shows off the mouse and Windows for the first time. Then in the 70s, the geniuses at Xerox PARC refined this into the WIMP system. That's Windows icons, menus, and pointers, which is literally the foundation of everything we use today. And then boom, 1984, Apple's Macintosh brings the GUI to everyone, followed just a year later by Microsoft's Windows 1.0. The visual revolution was on. Okay, so that's the story of how the modern interface came to be. But why do some of them feel amazing to use, while others are just a complete mess? Well, it turns out there are some actual rules to good design. Pretty much all great interfaces share these 8 qualities. You've got clarity and concision. You should know what's going on at a glance without a bunch of junk in the way. Familiarity is huge. It's using ideas we already understand, like a little trash can icon meaning delete. Responsiveness is that instant feedback you feel. When you click a button, it feels like it clicked. Consistency means things work the way you expect them to across the whole system. Aesthetics? Well, they just matter. We like using things that look good. Efficiency lets you get your tasks done fast. And last, but maybe most important, is forgiveness. That's the magic of the undo button, the Command Z that saves us all. Now, all those rules were basically born on a computer screen, but what's happening now is that the whole idea of an interface is breaking out of that glowing rectangle. It's going everywhere. The user interface is literally becoming invisible.
It's disappearing into our cars, our coffee makers, our homes. That bridge between us and the machine isn't just something we look at anymore. It's something we touch, something we talk to, something that's just part of the world around us. And here's a perfect example of what that looks like. This is a tangible interface. These people are physically moving blocks on a table to interact with digital information. The line between the physical world and the digital world is just completely blurring. And to show you just how common this is getting, look at this. Yes, that is the control panel for a toilet in Japan. This is a human-machine interface, or HMI, which is just a UI for a physical object. It's a funny example, but it proves that these design principles are at work absolutely everywhere, even in the most unexpected places. And of course, we have wearables. Devices like Google Glass were pioneers in creating interfaces that rely on the most natural things we do, talking and gesturing. The keyboard and the mouse are starting to feel a little old school, aren't they? So we've come all this way, from punching obscure commands into a terminal to just talking to the air or waving a hand. As our technology keeps weaving itself more and more invisibly into our lives, it leaves us with this one final, really fascinating question to think about. What will that next bridge between us and the machine even look like?